The water fell in warm sheets from the overhead spouts, steam curling through the air like wisps of soft smoke. The communal shower room was built of smooth stone, glowing faintly with a soft bioluminescence native to Kirellian architecture. Voices echoed faintly in the background, alien soldiers laughing, chattering in their melodic tongue, though none seemed to care about the lack of privacy. Ethan kept his eyes firmly forward. He'd only been on Kirellia for 2 weeks, a lone human envoy working alongside the Planetary Defense Force after their alliance with Earth. Everything was new. The twin suns, the towering crystalline cities, the food that tasted like spiced honey and salt at the same time. But nothing, and he meant nothing, had prepared him for this. On Earth, showering was private, intimate, something you did alone, or at the very least behind a curtain if you were stuck in a gym locker room. Here, the Kirellians didn't even have the concept of bathroom privacy. "Your people bathe alone?" Lieutenant Veyra had asked earlier that day, her luminous violet eyes widening in disbelief. How isolating. He hadn't known what to say. Now, standing under the warm spray, while trying very hard not to stare at the other soldiers casually washing around him, Ethan realized he was going to die of embarrassment before the enemy invasion even arrived. And then she walked in. Veyra, tall for her kind, though still a head shorter than him, with the usual Kirellian features, slender build, faintly shimmering skin like sunlight on water, hair the color of midnight with streaks of silver that glimmered when wet. She set her weapons belt aside, stepped beneath the spray 2 rows down, and then, to Ethan's growing horror, started walking straight toward him. "Human," she said, her voice a mix of command and amusement. "You look like you're trying to merge with the wall." "I'm fine," Ethan said quickly. She tilted her head, studying him. "Your face is red. Is the water too hot?" "No," he muttered. "Just my life flashing before my eyes." Veyra glanced around the room, as though checking for eavesdroppers, then leaned slightly closer. "Do you require assistance?" "Assistance," he repeated blankly. She held up a brush, a long-handled thing with soft bristles, clearly designed for hard-to-reach spots. "It is customary to scrub each other's backs," she said matter-of-factly. "Shared showers are normal here. It fosters trust among soldiers." Ethan nearly choked on the steam.
"Oh,
"No, I'm good." "Really?" Veyra blinked her luminous eyes. "You do not wish me to help?" It's not that. On my planet, people don't usually," he gestured vaguely, because how exactly did one explain human modesty to someone who thought communal showers were team-building exercises? Veyra watched him struggle, then something curious flickered across her face. "You are embarrassed," she said slowly, as though tasting the word. Ethan dragged a hand down his wet face. "Maybe a little." "Why?" she asked, tilting her head again. "We are allies. Comrades. It is only a back." "Only a back."
right.
The problem was that her tone was innocent, her expression calm. But there was something in her eyes. A glimmer. Like she knew how flustered he was getting and found it amusing. Or maybe he was imagining things. "Look," he said finally, voice low, "it's not common where I'm from. People would think it was personal." "Personal," Veyra repeated softly, as though rolling the word over her tongue.
"Yeah."
"Like intimate." For the first time since he'd met her, Veyra actually hesitated. Her silver-streaked hair clung wetly to her shoulders, droplets running down the smooth lines of her arms. Her violet eyes flicked to his, studying him with a new expression, thoughtful, almost curious in a different way. "I see," she said at last. "Then perhaps it is personal." Ethan's brain short-circuited. "Wait, what?" But before he could stop her, Veyra stepped around behind him, brush in hand. "Veyra," he said, alarm shooting through his voice. "Relax, human," she said calmly. "You are tense. That is bad for health." "That's not the—" He stopped as the brush touched his shoulders. Warm water.
Steam.
The faint scrape of bristles moving across his back. Ethan went rigid as a statue. "You are very stiff," Veyra observed mildly, as though discussing the weather. "Do humans carry so much tension always?" He opened his mouth, closed it again. because the truth was, it did feel nice. The brush moved in firm, sure circles, sliding across muscles tight from training and stress. Veyra worked methodically, like this was the most ordinary thing in the world. Meanwhile, Ethan was fairly certain his face was about to combust. "This is normal for you?" he managed. "Of course," she said. "On long campaigns, soldiers rely on each other for everything. Food, warmth, defense, hygiene." A pause. "It teaches closeness." Closeness.
Great.
Perfect word choice. Ethan stared straight ahead, counting the droplets running down the wall. "Humans truly find this intimate?" Veyra asked after a moment. "Yeah," he muttered. "Kind of." She made a thoughtful sound. "Then perhaps I should feel honored." He nearly slipped on the wet floor. "Honored? You allowed me," she said simply. "That means you trust me more than your own customs allow. Does it not?" Ethan opened his mouth to argue. Stopped. Realized she wasn't exactly wrong. And somehow, that thought left his chest feeling weirdly warm. By the time Veyra finally stepped back, his shoulders felt looser. Lighter. He turned to find her watching him with that same unreadable expression. He said brilliantly. "Thanks." She inclined her head. "You are welcome, human." Then, with the faintest trace of a smile, just a quirk at the corner of her mouth, she added, "Next time, perhaps you will scrub mine." Ethan almost dropped the brush. The rest of the soldiers never mentioned it. But over the next few weeks, Ethan noticed Veyra seemed to appear at the showers around the same time he did. Always with that same calm expression. Always offering the brush without comment. And maybe, just maybe, he stopped saying no. Because somewhere between the warmth of the water and the quiet rhythm of her voice, the human idea of personal began to change. And the next time she handed him the brush, he didn't hesitate.